Do the Minnesota Vikings have a secret weapon on their coaching staff? Well, we're going to talk about it on today's show. And this guy right here, 28-year-old Grant Udinski, has been getting a lot of love from some NFL circles this offseason. So we're going to dive into him, then also a mailbag on the second half of today's show. But speaking about next season, if you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to take back the NFC North and win the division this upcoming year, just hit that thumbs up icon. You guys could get down there, hit the like button. I put the goal on today's show as 1,000 likes. If we could smash that goal, I would really appreciate it. So if you guys want the Vikes to win the NFC North, hit that thumbs up icon. So Albert Breer wrote up an article around the Vikings' secret weapon. So the first thing you may notice about Udinski is his title, which is unique. He started his coaching career under Matt Rule, who hired him at Baylor and took him to the Carolina Panthers on the advice of veteran assistant Brian Anchelicho. Kevin O'Connell then poached him in 2022. From there, Udinski went from assistant to the head coach / special projects to assistant quarterbacks coach to his current title. And each little step was taken in an effort by O'Connell to keep Udinski on the staff as long as he could, even if that meant having to work around already having a very solid offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach on the payroll. The head coach did it because the reality was Udinski had become his right-hand man, and enough folks around the NFL had come to know his value to a surging Vikings program. If you guys don't know, the New England Patriots, before they hired Josh McDaniels, they interviewed Udinski. The Seattle Seahawks, they interviewed Udinski and actually bringing him in for a second interview. But if you just kind of think about the Vikings coaching staff offensively, it is absolutely loaded. We'll dive into that a little bit more here in a second, but even more on Udinski, his specific role, like the special projects we were talking about, he was J.J. McCarthy's right-hand man this entire season. I was reading an article, I forget where it was from, but it was just pretty much saying, like, anytime J.J. had a question, Udinski was right there. Anytime J.J. had any concerns, any problems, whether it's rehab process or a question about a certain play, certain formation, certain scheme, whatever it may be, Grant Udinski was the guy that J.J. went to. And I'll tell you what, you got a big four here of some great coaches on the Minnesota Vikings. You know, obviously, you got Kevin O'Connell, I think one of the best offensive minds in the National Football League still, even though the collapse he had at the end of the season. But you got Wes Phillips, a very, very good offensive coordinator. Then you got Josh McCown as your QB coach, where this guy was getting head coach interviews this offseason. Then you got the whiz kid, Grant Udinski, sitting there waiting in the reins. And if I had to call it, though, even if it's not this offseason, I'm assuming next offseason this offensive coaching staff will look totally different. But if you guys remember, that Washington football team coaching staff where they had like Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay back in the day, and you go back and look at it, and you're just like, man, how did they let those guys out the door? I feel like that's how we're going to view this current Vikings coaching staff, where it's like, man, Kevin O'Connell, Josh McCown, Wes Phillips, Grant Udinski, they were all on the same staff together. I could very well see that being the case in a couple of years from now. But if you take that combination of the elite coaching staff for the Vikings, and then you take the combination of the elite offensive talent on this football team, I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be just all right, because you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got the franchise tight end in T.J. Hockenson. With Christian Darrisaw returning from injury this next season, it gets me to this. J.J. McCarthy will be just fine. You know, I thought I would have more concern on J.J. potentially being a bust this upcoming season, because that would really set the franchise back. I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think he will be just fine. I think he will excel with this team. And, you know, if we can just, like, look back at this year's past draft class, like Caleb Williams went to a very terrible situation with the Chicago Bears. Caleb has all the talent in the world, but he went to a poor offensive play caller and a poor head coach. Where Jaden Daniels, on the other hand, got Cliff Kingsbury, a great offensive coaching staff there in Washington, and then with just everything that we've heard around JJ, just being a sponge of information, and with the elite offensive minds in this building, like, I really do believe JJ McCarthy, he'll be just fine. He will be a good quarterback in the NFL, but it's going to come down to number 9. Will he be good? Will he be great? We'll have to wait and see on that. But you guys be honest with me. Do you believe J.J. McCarthy is the guy? Do you believe J.J. is the potential franchise quarterback that us Vikings fans have been waiting for, for a very, very long time? You guys let me know. Give me a Y for yes down below in the comment section, or give me an N for no. Now we'll get to you guys' questions here on the Vikings here in a second. But first off, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $28 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, Game Time, they have an awesome new feature on their app called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They also have a views from your seat feature that gets you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you even buy the ticket to whatever event it may be. So if you guys are looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves schedule or the Minnesota Wild schedule and you guys notice there's a team you want to see playing in Minnesota, take advantage of this deal. Get yourself a free beer at the game and just take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. It can be a stressful process, but Game Time pretty much reduces all the stress there. So download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, little mailbag to close out today's show. JT Solo saying, #Vikings. Do you think Ashton Jeanty will fall to the Vikings? I'm going to go no on this. I think the Denver Broncos will be looking to take a running back at pick 20. But let's just say Denver doesn't take a running back. Maybe the Steelers could take him ahead of the Vikes. I don't think the Packers would. But if he is there, I'll be very curious to see if Kwesi makes that pick. Because he is a very analytically driven person. And if he views like, oh, I could get a running back in the third round that could maybe have not like the same amount of production, but get damn near to what Ashton Jeanty would bring in, then maybe they go corner, maybe they go offensive line in the first round. If I had to call it, though, I would say the Vikings don't draft a running back. I would want them to, but if Genty's there, I mean, that would be a tough decision for Kwesi to make. But the Grey Warden Harold coming in with the next question, saying, #Vikings, what do you think our three biggest needs are? Number one's got to be interior offensive line. I think that's by far. Number two would have to be corner, considering you don't have any starters from last season technically on the roster this upcoming year. But if you re-sign Byron Murphy, you got Mekhi Blackman coming back, I think that's a good starting point. Maybe then you bring in a veteran or you go get a guy like DJ Reed in free agency or you draft a guy like Benjamin Morrison, which we've talked about on the channel countless times. But the third biggest need, I'm going to probably go interior defensive line here. Like Harrison Phillips, like Jonathan Bullard, like Jalen Redmond. Do I love any of those guys? Not necessarily. I think they could use a blue chipper there. So if I had to call it, interior O-line, cornerback, and defensive line. Blinky coming in saying McCarthy needs a Jeanty and a good O-line, in my opinion. Any rookie who threw 30-plus times in a game is going to have a rough game. I know Cowboys likely draft him, but even Jerry Jones knows need O-line more than a great running back. Blinky, I think the first point you made here nailed it on the head. Like, J.J. McCarthy, and I don't think this is a shot at him by any means, but, you know, where he excels is having that strong running game, having that strong support system. And when he is in those third and long situations, which at Michigan, he had to convert a lot of those big third and longs. That's the situation you want JJ to be in, not, hey, we're spreading out, going 5 wide every single play, and it's just JJ throwing the ball 40 times a game. So, you know, I think McCarthy does need a Jeanty in his life, but if it's not Jeanty, what about a Caleb Johnson? What about, you know, Hampton from North Carolina? There are other guys. There are Cam Scadaboo from, you know, Arizona State. There are other guys in there where you can get that bell cow, that workhorse running back. But I totally agree with you on this. You need that a run game this season. And my bold prediction that I've been saying a lot, I think the Vikings offense will look a whole lot different this upcoming year. I don't think it'll be the air raid attack where it's Darnold dropping back 40-plus times a game, throwing it to Jefferson, Addison, and Hockenson. I think there will be a run-first offense this upcoming season. At least I would hope so. But JJ the GOAT, great name, coming in saying, what Vikings free agents should they bring back? Byron Murphy, number one. Cam Bynum, number two. And then I think that's where it ends for me. You can let guys like Dalton Reisner walk. You can let guys like Jihad Ward, you know, those really rotational players walk. But even if you have to let Cam Bynum walk to sign a great interior offensive lineman, I'm cool with that. But I think Byron Murphy has to be, you know, number one priority for the Vikings heading into free agency. But appreciate the question. Vikings fan for life, what's going on? Saying, are you scared that the Bears hired Ben Johnson? I mean, not really. Listen, the Bears did a great job. got the best, head coach candidate that was out there. There's no doubting that. But I think it's also delusional that Bears fans possibly think, oh, Ben Johnson's going to come in and completely change life here. And offseason champs, hang the banner yet again, Chicago. Because last offseason, the media love for them got out of control. People were picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And we got about 10 weeks into the season, realized they were a disaster. And then this season, the whole cycle is starting over again. And we've talked about the Chicago Bears cycle here. You draft a QB in the first round. You fire that head coach. They get all the blame. You hire another bad head coach. Then you end up firing the GM. The new GM comes in there, and then they want to draft their own quarterback. This cycle has gone through starting with Mitch Trubisky, went to Justin Fields. I don't want to guarantee it, but I could see Bears fans hanging up their number 18 Caleb Williams jerseys right up next to Justin Fields, number 1, and right up next to Mitch Trubisky, number 10. So answer for that, I'm going to go not really, but I could, I don't love the Bears hiring Ben Johnson by any means. I think he's a very, very smart offensive mind. Can he be a head coach? We'll wait and see. JT Slow was saying, do you think the Cowboys will get him? If you're talking about Ashton Genty, I'll tell you what, Jerry would love it. Put some more butts in those seats in that big old stadium he's got down there in Texas. I'm going to probably say no, though. I don't think they would take him, that high in the first round. But, hey, Jerry, he loved Ezekiel Elliott. Maybe he's thinking I could get a little Zeke in Ashton Genty. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'd probably say no on that. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a skull down below in the comment section. Get rowdy for me. And make it look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. And also, I am on Twitter, the handle, @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there. Follow you guys right back. If you guys also just want more Vikings content on your Twitter timeline, follow me over there. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.